Rolex. The brand that's synonymous with luxury, craftsmanship, and let's be honest, waiting. In 2025, things are no different. Getting the Rolex you've always wanted can feel like a game of chance, especially when the demand outweighs the supply. But don't worry, I've got some great tips in this video and strategies that will help you navigate the process and make your dream of owning a Rolex a reality this year. Whether you're eyeing up your first Rolex or adding another piece to your collection, these tips, I hope, will come in handy. Now, before I get into it, let me introduce myself. If you are new around here, I'm Jag from Jag's Watches. Please do consider subscribing, and subscribers, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you. So, segment 1, understanding the Rolex waitlist. Now, there's a lot of myths that there are no wait lists. It's all about having prior purchase history, etc. But ultimately, most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, you have to wait before you get your Rolex. On the off chance, and this is honestly far few in between the times that this does happen, you walk in and you buy the Rolex. But here's the thing, it's not just about waiting. The key to getting your Rolex in 2025 is to build a relationship with your authorized dealer. And I know you've probably heard that before, but I will give you a real life example of the way that I've done it. And the key reason to do that is you need to stay on their radar. It doesn't mean you're popping in every single day, but walking in once in a while to remind them of who you are and just starting to build that rapport with them, asking questions, and most importantly, showing genuine interest in the brand. This leads me on to segment 2, which is building a relationship with the authorized dealer. A lot of people think buying a Rolex is just walking into the store and picking up and choosing your watch. But in 2025, and I think over the last 5 to 10 years, that hasn't been the case. Dealers are looking for customers who are invested in the brand and not just the watch. They want to sell you multiple watches. They want to know that you are truly interested in these watches. Show them that you're a Rolex enthusiast, not only a Rolex enthusiast, but just a watch enthusiast generally. And I want to talk about my own personal experience, and I think I've known my personal AD now for over a year. I walked into the shop very naively, asking for the availability of a green Oyster Perpetual, and he said, "Sorry, Jag, you're gonna have to wait a long time for that one." And however, he then asked me, "Are you into watches? What are your favorite watches? Rolex watches? What do you have in your collection right now?" And so I started talking to him about all the different watches I had, what my favorite watches were. And so he said, "Jag, you know what? Come take a seat and let's get hands on with some watches." So he took out the green Oyster Perpetual for me to try on, also Submariner Date. There was a third watch, I'm trying to remember which one it is now. It was a Yachtmaster. It was a steel Yachtmaster that he brought out. And anyway, the point is, he started asking questions about what I did, what my favorite watches were. And that's when he said, "Jag, let me put your name down for these and you'll hopefully get them to you." Sorry. Also a Rolex Explorer, because I mentioned that was one of my favorite watches. I also mentioned I was a James Bond fan, and then he joked saying you need to get you a Submariner as soon as possible. Also a Rolex Explorer, because Ian Fleming also wore a Rolex Explorer, I think. I might be wrong, please correct me if I am wrong. But the point is, you're building a rapport, you're coming across as genuine, and the point is, you're there because you love watches. You're not there because you want to make a quick buck. This leads me on to segment 3. Know which models are available and popular. As we all know, some Rolex models are higher in demand than others, which means longer waiting lists and less availability. Popular models like Rolex Submariner, Daytona, and GMT Master 2 are notoriously hard to get. And this is where I want to interject and say, I was told straight off the bat, without prior purchase history, I couldn't even put my name down for a GMT Master 2. I was able to put my name down for a Submariner, an Explorer, and an Oyster Perpetual, but no GMT Master 2. And that got me wondering, you have to have a prior purchase history in order to get a GMT Master 2, which is what I expected, to be perfectly honest. And it leads me on to segment 4, which I am a little bit dubious about because I don't personally agree with it, but it's about being flexible and open to other models in order to get what you want. Personally, I wouldn't want to do this, but I know that a lot of people advise to do this. Now, my advice is do what makes you happy. I personally wouldn't buy a watch just in order to get in favor with the AD and to be able to get a GMT, for example. On the other hand, if you don't want to go to the grey market, the secondary market, then this is the only way you can do it. GMTs are just so popular right now, and I know that a lot of you out there probably want a Pepsi, a Batman, and a Bruce Wayne, but ultimately you are going to have to spend money in order to even get your name down. At least this is my experience and the people around me's experience, in order to get your name down and actually get a GMT. So if you're able to be flexible, for me, as I said, an Oyster Perpetual, a Submariner, and a Rolex Explorer were the watches that I would have loved to have. And I'm going to get into now, actually, I'll get into the story of how I said no to a Submariner, how I said no to a Rolex Explorer in just a second, but you're going to have to wait. I want to just quickly move on to, if you're not flexible, the next best option is going to resellers. But be careful. Buying from an authorized dealer is the ideal route, but as we all know, it's a waiting game. It's a very expensive waiting game. And we know that certain Rolex models are really hard to come by. But quite often, if you just go straight to the secondary market, you can pick up a GMT Master 2 from anywhere between 11 to 15,000 pounds. And sometimes that is cheaper than going through the AD route and having to spend loads of money on other watches that you may or may not want. I would always recommend doing the AD route as long as you want those watches prior to the GMT. Don't just spend money willy-nilly and buy watches that you don't even want and you wouldn't even wear, because, as I said, it leaves a foul taste in my mouth knowing that you have to spend stupid amounts of money to get the actual watch that you want. Now, thankfully, in my case, there are certain watches that I would love to have prior to the GMT and the other even more difficult options like the Daytona. But if you don't want any of those easier to get watches like the Rolex Explorer, for example, then sometimes just going to a reseller is the best option. But make sure you go to a trusted reseller, one with a bit of legitimacy. And I feel like if you're willing to pay that premium, sometimes that premium is the better option than going the AD route. Now, this leads me on to the couple of stories which I've covered on the channel before, saying no to the Submariner and saying no to the Rolex Explorer. The Submariner was a friend who was offered it by his AD, and I said no. I just didn't feel ready for that watch. It's not one of my favorite Rolexes. It's something which, at the time, I knew somebody else would have appreciated having that Rolex way more than me. And I passed upon that chance. And I don't regret that, because I have two divers and I'm not going to get another diver in my collection. I've got two Seamasters, one birth year watch, and this No Time to Die Seamaster. So no more divers for me. But I did say no to a Rolex Explorer. And I just want to give you a little backstory. I had bought my birth year Seamaster, the Piers Brosnan reference 253180, I think it is. And I get a call a week later from my AD saying, your Rolex Explorer is ready for you, Jag. Come and get it. I then had a very long conversation with the AD and with the representative and explained to him, I'm so sorry, but I've just bought a new watch. And due to the fact that I don't like buying watches in quick succession, I'd much prefer enjoying a watch and having space in between my acquisitions, because I want to appreciate what I have. It's not always about buying the next watch. I passed up on that Rolex Explorer as well. But he understood. I was genuine in that response and he understood. And I even went to go and see him a couple of times after that. And the relationship is a genuine relationship. And he knows that I still want that Rolex Explorer, but the timing just wasn't right. And so it's okay to say no. I was offered some Datejust that I hadn't put my name down for, but I didn't want the watch. I said no to it. Now, a lot of people will tell you always buy what the AD offers you, but no. I would say don't do that. At the end of the day, you'll be left with a watch that you don't even want to wear and you're just wasting money. So there you have it. Some tips on how to navigate buying a new Rolex in 2025 from the AD. At the end of the day, you are going to have to wait and you're going to have to be a little bit strategic, a little bit patient in order to get the watch that you want. But I feel like with the right approach, with the right amount of strategic flair, maybe you'll get there. You'll definitely get there. Whether you're aiming for a GMT or a Daytona, I hope you get the watch that you want. Stay informed, and I think the biggest thing here is building that rapport, building that genuine relationship with the representative at the AD. That will allow you to have the best possible chances to be allocated the watch that you want. I hope you found something useful in this video. I don't know if a couple of points in this video I've been rambling on, but if you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any new videos out there. And of course, please leave your own advice in the comments down below, because let's make this a video that people can come to and learn on how to navigate this whole process of trying to buy a Rolex from the AD. I've been Jag from Jags Watches, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.